a TED Talk. That was very real and very true. Courtney, do you have any opinions?
I mean, Brynn, you're not
Mhm.
wrong. And that's
She's
why
not wrong. No.
the whole
Mhm.
trip through this
Yeah.
episode, he's just a barrel of fun.
All right, we are back with another episode, Real Housewives of New York, season 14, episode number 10. Courtney Stewart's here with me. Courtney, how is what's on your mind today? Talk to me.
It's fall. We really well, it's
Basically.
fall. It's feeling like fall. LA's had a little bit of overcast over the weekend, so it kind of felt like a real seasonal change, which was nice. And I watched these little housewives getting into it and doing the things. And I'm just happy that I still really like New York. Like I really, really like the show. And I am like old school, been watching Housewives since the very first OC premiere. Like I've watched it from the beginning, and I didn't know that I would, fall in line with these new girls and a whole new set in New York. And I'm really still enjoying every episode. So
you talked about loving it from the very beginning. Can I say how amazing I think it is that Vicky did get her what's it called? Lifetime Achievement Award, which will be given out at BravoCon. I think she deserves it. What are your I mean, she was essentially the original.
100%. She's batshit nuts, and I love it. And she has been good TV for what? At this point, it's been 17 years, 16 years.
A long time.
It's been a long time, but she was the original, and she was the original. She's the prototype. Like everything that came after came because of her. So I think it's well deserved, and I know that she felt really good about it. And I'm very happy for the acknowledgement.
It's like fun to watch. I'm not calling her insecure, but it's like fun to watch whatever is adjacent to insecure. That's what she kind of has.
So
but I'm like, give me the popcorn. I want to see it more. Like here, I'm like, I'm not going to no damn BravoCon unless I'm invited to like host an event or whatever. I'm not going to pay. But now I'm like, ooh, maybe I'll go. And a Vanderpump Rules panel, maybe I'll go.
Maybe. Drama is doing the VPR panel. And
I saw that. Yeah. So it's maybe going to be better than we think. I have one unpopular opinion, and then we'll get into the episode. I don't love extended vacations on Housewives. I feel like I got a little bit like, wait, we're going to go into a fourth episode, albeit it's only going to be a little bit, like it's going to pay off the end of the issue that we are going through. But 4 episodes, like just me, you can't give me the beloved New York City that I love so much and then not give me like we're basically having 4 episodes in this beautiful location. I'm not saying am I making sense, Courtney?
I will give you a little bit of that just because New York is New York and you want to see them like in the city and doing stuff and all of that. But Anguilla that villa is so, it is chef's kiss. Like it is
okay.
And then the yacht, like I agree. Like I would say 2 to 3 max when they're on a trip, but
I figured it out. Like Jenna with, she has her issues, but hers are, of course, we're not making light of, but I don't have my Anguilla body. So maybe because I can't see it in my head, like, oh yeah, I'd be like, whatever. Now I love myself for sure, but I don't have my Anguilla body at the moment, so maybe it's that. Okay, let me shut up. And I never shut up, but today I'm gonna. I wanted to ask you a couple questions. Actually, before we do it, we should do a little quick promotion of Courtney. You could tell me about your Silver Guardian Productions and Courtney, all that you do. Why don't we do that before we start anything?
Well, I'm a filmmaker, host, writer, producer, and Silver Guardian Productions is my company, and we do everything from straight up passion film making that we love to brand marketing and anything video related that you need. So we've worked really well with some awesome clients. Like one of our faves is Alzheimer's LA, because in addition to like doing the wonderful things that we love and enjoy and making money, we also love to do stuff that helps the community. And so we do a lot of their educational content and there's stuff online. So it's been great. I love it. I hope you guys come check out our website, silverguardianproductions.com. silverguardianproductions.com. Follow us on Instagram at Silver Guardian Productions. It's me and my partner, Danielle Argyros, and we just two ladies trying to, do filmmaking and represent the women in front of and behind the camera.
Hey now, and listen, and when she's not talking Real Housewives of New York with me and being amazing at all what she just spoke about, she's giving reactions as such. Look at this from a past episode. Oh,
That was a Ronnie shocking moment. Ronnie must have said something wild, like Nene is trash or was never.
hey, we're turning a new leaf. We're turning kind these days. No, we're not. We're getting in our attitude vibes as always. No, but yes, definitely go check out also my stuff. YouTube.com/randomly Ronnie Jr. And the Patreon and the just et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, first thing, tell me what you think of the seating chart and tell me what you think of Jenna Lyons sharing a little bit more. Her whole season, it was like, Jenna, you're not sharing enough, or they questioned the way she shared. And now she's like, I feel like I can't put on the damn phone or TikTok without seeing a Jenna Lyons, viewpoints. What are your thoughts, Courtney, about all this?
I'll comment about the sharing in a minute, but I'll go to the chart first. The chart, I think, is right pretty much, but I did kind of think that Jenna might have been next to Andy because I feel like Jenna was kind of the center of a lot of contention, not necessarily conflict, but people being like, well, why this way? And you're not enough of this. So Jenna and I feel like Jessel could have been interchangeable, but overall, I think it's pretty accurate.
And the showcasing the relationship, which she wasn't going to do.
I mean, I'm happy that she is feeling free because I don't see how you're such a public figure because you're on reality TV. You're not just like an actor that goes to pretend to be somebody and then comes back, but like you're on reality TV. Like it's hard to not share and still want us to buy into your life. But also, I don't feel the way that everybody kind of has been talking about Jenna not exposing enough of herself on the show. I actually feel the opposite. I feel like she's been very vulnerable and super interesting in her trying to find how to be more vulnerable, if that makes sense. Like, I think that I understand the argument about like, oh, you're giving us your gifts that are your branded, whatever. I'm like, everybody trying to sell something. That's America. That's 2023. Like, that's just what it is. And so that doesn't bother me. But I think that the like slow reveal makes sense for her. Like, she's a woman of a particular age who's had a very interesting like life trajectory. And I don't think that just comes in an instant. She's not that's not her personality. And if she was doing that, I don't think that would be her. And I think that's why we as an audience enjoy her, because she's authentically, or at least it feels like she's being authentic who she is. And the information is going to come when she's ready to give it. And she's not giving information. She's just not giving everything they're asking for in every moment. And I'm okay with that.
And at the level that she's at, not to knock anyone else, but versus the level that they are all, growing, like you do act differently when you've already been through stuff and you want to protect things in a different way. And or who you're dating, like, is it good? But then they're like, oh, I don't really want to be in the limelight. This could turn out bad. So there's a lot of other things rather than just like facing the blame, like, oh, she's not sharing. I mean, even if she's not sharing, I got to say the fan base is loving Jenna. To your question, or your comment rather, on should she be in the first chair, I feel like yes, but I'm really proud. Like, as you know, Team Jessel, we're like, we did it. We won. And you knew Erin would kind of be in the front seat because she's been all up in the mix, but and I love Erin. I do like Erin a lot. I always make an excuse, maybe not always, but I make an excuse for her a lot. And she is good TV, but that Jessel, oh, she just warms my heart. What did she say on this episode today? Oh, that made me laugh because I says, Ronnie, you are so full of it. I had to tell myself. They were talking to her about the snoring, and she's like, well, no, it was more like a heavy breathing and a this and a this. And it's like, Jessel, no one is coming for you. And that's how, Courtney, takes one to know one. That's how I am. I'm like, no one's even after me. And I'm like fully defensive all the time. So that's what I love about her.
Like, girl, it's okay. Everybody snores sometimes. It's
Right.
fine.
Everyone snores. Everyone passes gas in their sleep. Like, it will be okay. But like, she's like, no. My only last comment there. I like Jessel in the front seat. I like Erin in the front seat for sure. In terms of Jenna being in the middle, you got to also think people like Kenya Moore have been in the center seat. So has Larsa Pippen, and people have their thoughts on Larsa. I of course love her, but the center seat isn't necessarily a downgrade unless you make it feel like a downgrade. Is what I feel. Yeah.
I feel like all of that is the case. Like, other than the seats right next to Andy, like, I feel like the rest of it is kind of just whatever you say it. Because I feel like Candy on Roja has been on the end multiple times.
But her checks have never been at the end. No.
And her drama has never not been a part of the drama of the season. So I just think I don't think it really, unless you're in those first two, like, I feel like everything else is just kind of like, as long as you got good angles, honey, and look beautiful, it doesn't matter.
Right. Well, yeah, my beloved Giselle Bryant says wherever I sit is the baddest seat in the room, and so I always try to lock into that. You said what?
I support that.
Okay, good. Oh, good. When I say the word Giselle Bryant, everyone gets a little like, ooh.
Me and Giselle got an okay relationship. I had one major problem with Giselle.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll not.
About that
Yeah, we won't explore that today. We're doing a quick, easy episode. Other quick moments before we get right into it. I thought was funny was Jessel not knowing that it was a captain. She called it a pilot. We have an ongoing story of like Brynn and Jenna, and I want to know what you think about this, the flirting. And then we got pranks, cell phones, sunglasses, and maybe one of the funnest things I think I'm going to be for Halloween. I think I've decided right in this moment, I'm going to be the queen of assumptions. Why did that sound so funny to me? Just the way Jessel's like, well, who do you think you are? You're like the queen of assumptions. And I was like, oh my God, this is like a Game of Thrones character. Who is the queen of assumptions?
So good, Erin, because you are, girl, you are. But we'll get there.
Yeah. Do you want to jump ahead for one particular thing, just because it goes throughout the whole episode? So I want to at least get your viewpoint. Brynn overly flirting with Jenna. I don't know why it gives me a little bit of a side eye.
I look. Do I think it's put on? Look, there was a couple episodes ago. I was like, okay, Brynn, you're wearing me out. Like, give me grounded Brynn a little bit more. Like, it's a little too much. But I feel like because they're in Anguilla and because of Jenna's like responses and her cute little like moments in her confessional where she's like, it's not a no. Like, I just think it's cute and it works for me. It's light. They're on vacation. They're being ridiculous. Like, and it's just, I feel like Brynn is just bringing the energy that I want when I'm on vacation with the homegirls. Like, we're just goofing off and having a good time and like, just playing in strokes. And she's a flirt. Like, that's her thing. And is she playing it hard? Yes, she's playing it hard.
I don't like when I talk with you because you always make valid points. And it's like, what am I going to do with that? But if Jenna is taking it really cool, I guess it's really not an issue. If Jenna was feeling uncomfortable and like sort of forcing herself or being forced or feeling compelled to like go along with it, then it would get a little funny. Like, I do have those conversations like with a handful of my straight friends where I'm like, you got one more comment. Like, there is a point where like it's fun and it's great that we have this great camaraderie, and you'll talk about women that you're into, I'll talk about guys that I'm into, and it's warm, but like sometimes it goes, wait a minute, I think the natural care for Jenna and the fact that Brynn just won't stop. Like, would you stop? Like, stop with the one note. Although I will say, flashing forward, her saying the choking on it was actually a TED Talk. That was very real and very true. Courtney, do you have any opinions?
I mean, Brynn, you're not wrong. And that's why
she's not wrong. No.
Whole trip through this episode. She's just a barrel of fun.
Why did I quickly say, Courtney, what do you think about that? Let me move on.
Hey, Ronnie.
I know you could have turned it around on me. What do you think? No. Going forward, so we basically have going off the last evening, and this is where we find out about, Jessel and her snoring and her, just her funniness with all that. But we also get a little sneak peek of Jenna. I guess her
Oh
what do you
yeah.
call that? A wardrobe malfunction.
Yes, her wardrobe malfunction.
And it really just sets up the morning for like what they're gonna do, and the fact that they still, I guess, like Erin fills Brynn in on like, well, we had found out that Jessel keeps, with these stories, and Sai didn't necessarily agree. So yeah, that's exactly sort of what happened right at that time. I guess they get to a little bit later, so we could get to the next part of it. When they get to the boat, by the pilot, by the captain, they do kind of bring it up again. What was your take on Sai not letting it go? I do love the way Jenna said to Erin, well, why does it bother you so much? And she didn't say it in a mean way. I
Yeah.
really thought that was kind of a good moment there.
I think, okay, so the whole like debate about Jessel's upbringing and like help and all of that. The reason I understand, look, I will say off the top, I agree with Ubah when she said they going way too hard, taking this way too serious. And it's them telling you you're not telling the truth about your life is crazy. I will lead with that. But I also understand when somebody, for in this case, Sai, came from a legitimately very challenged background and feeling like, because there are people that, because I feel like Jessel is one of these kind of people that like wants to, she's attempting to relate to you by equating what she's been through to what you've been through. And I don't think she means that in a harmful way, but it's one of those things like, yes, you had a tough time. Nobody's life is perfect. Nobody's life is all, roses and butterflies all the time. But you saying that like, oh, I had an uncle that clearly could help take care of me and do this so that I could make my way in this world is not the same as, Sai being on the streets, having to figure it out. And I think that Jessel wasn't trying to do that in any way, shape, or form. But I do think that she just, in talking about it, she was not understanding her own privilege in the situation. And that's what was getting under Sai's skin, actually, not necessarily just that it's the story. I think it's just not recognizing that your position was still very different. And you're trying to equate the two, and they're not equal. But at the same time, like at some point you gotta let that go and be like, okay, girl, whatever. That it was real hard for you, sure. Like, and be done.
Right.
And
What about
Erin,
well, yeah, what about when Jessel says, oh, I think it's Erin projecting? I don't know that it was Erin projecting, because one thing Erin has stood by is that no, she did have a lot going on for her. She I don't think she's ever hidden any aspect of what she said, my mom was right there at Lincoln Center.
yeah.
I don't think it was a projection, but I do think it's a little bit of Erin being all in her business. The question is why? Like
Yeah.
why not letting it go? Why not, like you said, just let Jessel say what she's saying? Jessel's just trying to relate. The only thing I could calculate in my head is that one thing I don't like, and I guess this might just be more of a showbiz thing, maybe, but like I hate it when it does sort of feel like everyone sometimes, whatever their career path is, they need to create something way more difficult in order for it to feel like they've achieved, which is, I guess, if you really think about it, not really a showbiz thing, because it's more so that whole like team no sleep, team hard work. It's like
Yeah.
some of you have had a really great advantage. It's kind of like the nepotism thing. It's like, well, I still worked hard. I'm like, and I still have a talent. No one said you didn't, but like sometimes the door open is really the thing that is a hindrance for everybody. So I could
Exactly.
understand the concept of Sai and Erin being in her business because you get tired of it. I mean, I didn't necessarily say this, but I did hear it on a podcast recently how like, okay, Bethany, like how disheveled were you? You know what I mean? Growing up, I think her father and her stepfather, they both kind of came from money. So situations are situations, but we so badly want to say someone walked in the door with nothing and then they created this self-made situation. We want that story to happen so bad, but like in my head, I'm like, I know what dirt poor New York City living is in all the apartments I've been. And
And
then I'm
that
like, look, I'm looking at like Bethany season 1. I'm like, that's you in the Upper East Side. You have a 1 bedroom. It didn't, the joke she makes, what she say recently? She says like, oh, my IKEA apartment. It's like, I don't know. Like we want so badly to sell that story.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I feel like, again, that was Sai's perspective. Erin's perspective, though, I'm curious if Erin knows a little bit more about Jessel. Like, does she know this uncle? Like, or at least know him by name? Like, whatever. Is this uncle actually like some kind of wealthier, financier person or something that had means, which would have made it, nicer for Jessel's life? And that's why she's frustrated with Jessel trying to make it seem like it was so challenging, because there's plenty of rich kids whose parents cut them off because they decide to do something that their parents don't want them to do, but they still have access to other relatives, a relative that clearly had a home that had space for her to move into for 2 years. So whatever. In the end, Jessel, that's her life. And if she thought it was hard and super challenging and that's how she came up from nothing, then they need to let it go.
I know, right? Erin is probably like, yeah, like my real estate, tycoon family knew the uncle.
Yeah, like,
Maybe they're like, that don't make no sense.
they're like, she wasn't broke. Because even she said, like, I told them my dad was able to pay for college and da, 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 da. And I'm like, that alone is something that a lot of people don't have access to. The idea that you had a parent that was able to pay for your college outright, like, that's a big deal. And I feel like she's Jessel. She does that. She's not necessarily grounded in what all that would be. And I don't think she means any harm. I think she just thinks it was challenging because it was challenging. It just wasn't challenging in the way that most would say is challenging.
Yeah. She did hold her own, though. I was a little worried that because it was an issue that can get people like, even I got a little passionate there. I wasn't being mad at anybody, but you get passionate about that situation when people say it in a way that it isn't actually. But I think she did hold her own. I mean, I think she she held her own with Sai, and then she's like, are we good? Are we friends?
Well, and I do like that Sai got upset and they were like, oh, because I think it was Brynn that was like, oh, Brooklyn's in the house or whatever she said. But then Sai was like, a girl, I don't care. Like, we good?
Yeah.
I'm having a beautiful day. This is a beautiful life. Like, it's fine. So I do appreciate that resolve was happening.
Is Sai still one of your favorite characters? We talked about this on a couple episodes. I am not getting it, Courtney.
I think she's great.
So you would bring her back season 2, guaranteed.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I would bring all of them back. I don't want any changes.
Yeah. I agree.
I want no changes, none.
I had been a little on the fence with Sai and Brynn, but I agree they all should come back. And I do think Brynn every once in a while just like hits a home run. It's the lack of variety in what she brings to the show sometimes, where I'm like, oh my god, that feels like one note. Like, again, the choking on it was it had me feeling away. I was like, oh yeah, it's true. But when it's just constant the same, it doesn't allow you to go through those peaks and valleys in terms of the humor that she's giving. But I agree, every single one of them should come back. It's a great show. I wish more people watched it, but nonetheless, we have this embarrassing moments dinner. What were your takeaways with this? Do you have any embarrassing moments you want to share? Did you ever do what Sai did? Sai talked about a mess that she had. What are your thoughts?
I really did think about trying to think about one of my embarrassing moments when they were telling their stories, and I couldn't come up with one. I know I have one. I definitely have embarrassed myself. I just couldn't think of one at the time. But their stories were great. Like, I love that they're, bonding and doing the thing. And even though like some of them were less embarrassing than others, it's funny how like Ubah was kind of the setup, because Ubah's was kind of like, oh, that's funny, not too bad. And then poor Erin, girl, why? Just say, guys, I can't think of one right now. I know I have something, but she was serious, so serious that was the most awful. I was like, oh, stop.
Well, she wasn't even just serious. She goes, was that bad? Is that bad? Like, it was like, wait, no one's even thinking this is embarrassing at all. And it's not like she was not trying to share. She was trying to share. It's just that's all she had. But you're right. Like, it's a really tough game. Like, what's the most embarrassing moment? Okay, now I got to get to the meat and potatoes of it all. Do you want to share? Have you ever had okay, I don't want to put it on you, but I'll put it on me. Sai says she accidentally went in her pants. I've got 2 stories Do you want to hear one or both or none? One of
Whatever
them
you
is
want
not
to
one of
share,
them is
Ronnie.
not nasty, huh?
Whatever you want to share, Ronnie, share with us.
Okay, there was no problem. However, I was at a bar, the Phoenix in New York City, and I'm downstairs at the restroom. And this is where we ended up. I ended up having to do a number two in the bathroom. I am sharing way too much. Courtney in the bathroom, the next stall, two two new friends were in the stall becoming new friends, choking, if you will. So choking on the D. Let's be clear. Which is fine. I had no problem. But so I'm over here, grunting it out. And then it goes. And by the way, I don't really like poop jokes, but it's pertinent to the show right here. So I'm just grunting it out and I'm feeling better. I'm like, oh God, my stomach had been messing with me all day. I feel much better. Let's have a good night. And then I go to the toilet paper. I start rolling it and there's no more toilet paper. So I'm about like 80% of the cleaning and I can't go to the next stall because they're in there getting to know each other. Yeah, in the next stall. So there's two stalls in the Phoenix. The lucky thing is the Phoenix is a gay bar, so like technically there isn't really a men's restroom and a women's restroom. It's, kind of free for all, even though in theory it is. So what I had to do is I had to pull the underwear off, use the underwear to clean, to get like a way that I could close my cheeks. And I've already said this story, that's why it's not embarrassing to me. Close my cheeks, and then they were still there. Then go to the women's restroom, but it was gender neutral. You don't look amused by any.
I mean,
and then so I was able to use the underwear, throw the underwear away, close the cheeks, which would take me from, what did I say, like 80% clean to like 92% clean. Close the cheeks, hobble on over. I mean, I fully was clothed, but like hobbled on over to the women's gender neutral restroom, go into that restroom where the women's restroom is always a lot cleaner anyways, finish the cleaning, and then I went upstairs and I had the rest of my evening. Actually, no, I think I did go home, but wow, right?
It all works out. It all works out. It's okay.
Why did I share that with you? You didn't ask for any of that, Courtney.
Hey, it was the ladies. They asked for it. It was New York Housewives.
The group really did get a kick out of these stories. Like, this was a fun watch. I agree with what you said in the vein of like, I don't need a great reality show in terms of it being compelling to be so, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. I don't even need it to be on a yacht or whatever. And it's like capsizing. Like, I don't need all of these big moments. Some of the really chill vibes do give you a little bit of a window, not into the life you live per se, but aspirationally the life you want to live. And it's like a beautiful place, like you said, them all having a good time. Everyone is so fashionable. I think this humor was really nice to watch.
Yes, I agree. And I will just make the comment too that this is because it's so new, the women and their glam, it's just them. Like, they don't have like glam teams getting them ready to go to dinner every night and we actually see, like, we saw Jessel and Ubah in bed and no makeup on, like, and you can see Jessel's, hyperpigmentation. Like, they're normal people, like, being like, it feels very retro retro reality, when it was like, yeah, you're actually just being yourself and doing what you would normally do. And it's cool to see how they still like pull themselves looking amazing and coming up with looks and whatever. Obviously, Sai is an influencer and has people picking clothes and pulling clothes for her that she took, but she's still very much like grounded when she's there. Like, her outfits are cute and she looks cute and she's doing her own ponytails. Like, it's just, I find pleasure in that as a woman, where now like makeup and having your beat right every time is so strong right now. And it's nice to see it revert back a little bit to being a little bit like, can we just be humans and not have to have a full face of makeup every time we do anything? Because we wouldn't do that in our regular life. Like, I wouldn't be going to the beach with lashes and contours and all the things. Like, yes, there are some that would, but like most of us would not. So it's nice to see that.
I agree with that 1000%. And I don't know where the change happened. Maybe Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm not sure. Or maybe just reality TV and social media in general. But I feel like it's that same principle of like, in order for things to have peaks and valleys in it for it to really be effective. It's like, wow, look at you. You got dressed up, for this event, like Erin's vow renewal. Like if you're always dressed up to the nines, or a beat face and all these things, and the makeup, everything's so beautiful, it kind of takes away. So I really do agree with you. Now on the level of like showcasing themselves, yeah, I think there's a huge level of vulnerability, and I think that's why I never had an issue with Jenna saying, like, the things she was going through, and how she didn't want to necessarily put that on camera. She never said it that way, but that's another element. It's not just me with these 5 other cast members and the production crew. It's, what does this look like on social media? And people are really ruthless out there. So I love that you mentioned that, and I couldn't agree with you more on all that. When they get back, though, here becomes well, the problem has already started to happen, because I guess the day before or something, the prank war is starting. Specifically Ubah throwing Erin in the pool. But then we have this moment where Erin gets Ubah's cell phone. What are the odds that this happens? And did you think it would go as gnarly as it ended up going?
I mean, no, but then when she was frantically like looking for it, they showed the like footage of her, and we've all freaked out when we thought we've lost our phones, like, and especially because they had been out, like, and coming back to the house, like it could have been anywhere. Yeah, but Erin, I was good with Erin for a brief minute, and then she ruined it for me, because I was team Erin, like, girl, Ubah, you overdoing it. It was a joke. Calm down. But Erin messed that up for me.
Wait, so was this the episode that you lost your like intrigue with Erin being really great for the show a little bit?
I
Like a
think she's
notch?
great for the show. She's definitely great for the show. She's great for the show, but I can't rock with her as a fan, because she's been doing it piece by piece. I think you remember early on I said, like, Erin, you doing too sensitive. Like there's something, and you were like, no, I feel like she just says what she's thinking.
Oh, so is this whole to chew Ronnie out? Oh my goodness,
I
you're right.
think
We did have a disagreement, and I said, "Oh, she's just an opinionated girl." But the one, I wouldn't call it an error, because you just act how you want to act, right? But I think the one thing that she is doing is she is stating that she has an opinion or a problem with everything, but then becoming a little too quick. And I say this lovingly, because I still do like Erin. Um, Being a little too quick to like leave a situation or walk away from a situation. I don't think walking away from a situation is bad at all. But if you're kind of like, I have a lot of opinions, you can like walk away from them later. I thought it started out pretty good. It felt like there was going to be a little bit of humor and fun with it, with the throwing Ubah in the pool, which was
yeah,
inevitable. Sai makes an epic like sports play, like an
that's a
all-star
great
sports.
photo. It's like she's like airborne to knock her into the pool. That was amazing.
And I wonder, thank you. I wonder if Erin sort of wishes she just let that be, because I think on one hand of it, you're like, oh, I was embarrassed by Ubah, so I have to like get her back. But you really could have let that go. For somebody who doesn't let a lot of things go, that was one where I was like, okay. And even she said it. She's like, Sai, you did that. All right, cool. It kind of felt like that could have been an ending. Now,
Yeah.
the very interesting thing is how it works sort of at the end of the episode. Um, because I do feel like, yes, if you dress it up in the sense of like a cell phone, we all can't live without our cell phones specifically. Oh my gosh, I think every human being, if they were on a trip and they didn't have their phone, this is going to be like, I can't communicate with this many people. We don't know our friends and family cell phone numbers even anymore. It's a
Exactly.
big deal. The part that I would go against that was like, but you kind of should have known that it was Erin who had it, because you guys were in the middle of a prank war. That's the only part that I'm like, not because Erin said, "Oh, I put the emoji that alluded to I know something." I don't think that, I mean, I know Erin's trying to state that. I don't think that necessarily is a great excuse, but I do think if you're in the middle of a prank war, it's like, "Where's my phone?" "Oh, she must have it." Like it feels like you would have thought that. But nonetheless, I think everyone would get passionate about losing their cell phone. Did you expect it to get to where it got?
I wouldn't have had Erin behaved differently.
Mhm.
And that's when I turn it back onto Erin. Because do I
Mhm.
think that Ubah overreacted a little bit? Sure. But like when she came downstairs and it was Brynn and Sai and Erin at the table, and Ubah just wasn't talking to anybody. And Sai was like, "Why are you mad at me, girl? Like, what's up?" And Erin's like, "Oh, I'm scared." I was like, "Okay, strike one. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Because what are you scared of? Like, why is that what you go to?"
Oh,
But
right, right.
I'm gonna take it
Mhm.
like, okay, girl, you scared? She gonna come and get you, like
Mhm.
whatever. And then she kissed Brynn. Ubah kissed Brynn, like, and Brynn's like, I'm safe, I'm good. So everybody's
Mhm.
still making it light. And I feel like when you know women and you know women in friendships, like, let her be mad. She has a
Mhm.
right to be mad. Let her be mad. You don't get to decide how somebody feels about something you did to them. So you may have thought it was a joke. Clearly, she didn't think it was a joke.
Mhm.
It's annoying that she didn't take it as a joke, but girl, she's clearly actually really upset. So let her be or apologize. Those are
Yeah.
your options. And I feel like if Erin had just been like, "Ooh, boo, boo, I'm sorry. I was just playing with you. I am so sorry. I know it's important for you to have your phone. My bad. My bad." But
Yeah,
that's not.
hindsight's 2020, so it does seem like that would have been the best move. Like you already got your prank in. It already caused a little bit of havoc. You're hearing through the rumblings through Jessel the attorney
Yes.
that it's an issue. She made a choice right there and then
Yep.
that like, oh, it's no big deal. So that just kind of like that lingering and all that time that built up is fine. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't be so chill about it. And then when it becomes where Ubah has the issue at hand, what's the problem? Like, I guess what I'm saying is we're all who we are. Some people are, they want that smoke at all times. Some people don't. Um, but I'm not saying Erin asked for it, but if you do ask for
Oh, she
something,
did. She
you
asked
can't
for it.
necessarily, okay, right. So you can't, this is as an Erin fan, so I'm not like really doing a super negative critique, but it's like you can't really be about it. And then all of a sudden, like, oh gosh, I don't want to do it, but I will kind of like with the wreaths, like then it didn't work out, you leave. I was totally on board. I think that might have been the episode you and I recapped. I was totally on board with the concept that she left, but then I wasn't on because fine, like I want to be here with you. But then she got on the phone and she's like, I'm shaking, and oh my gosh, to her sister, basically they got under her skin or whatever. So it's kind of like, which one is it? Which is a human experience. I don't think we've all done that. We've all like maybe bit off more than we could chew. But
For sure.
I definitely feel. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say though, but I 100% with the Reese thing, like that was another red flag with Erin in these last few episodes for me.
Hmm.
And then in this one, it was when she said, "Oh, I'm scared," and then obviously they all separate, get dressed to come back down, and Erin actually ends up being the one flipping out
Mm.
because she heard Ubah saying her name, and Ubah was saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, Erin was just here," and Erin comes at Ubah with all the smoke.
All the
Don't you be
smoke.
saying my name. Don't be saying my name. What are you saying my name? It's like, girl, so you
Yeah.
want the smoke, and therefore Ubah gave her the smoke.
Oh, that darn Courtney. Courtney, Courtney knows.
It didn't have
It's
to go that way. It didn't
it's
have
the
to be like
truth. It's like, and again, as I said, I'm not even that confrontational. I've always got an opinion, but if you ask for a certain thing and then that certain thing happens, you can't suddenly reshift it all to like, well, get out of my face. I mean, you do have the option to walk away for sure, but it didn't sound like you wanted to walk away when you said,
she
you
rolled up
basically
on
said,
her.
keep your name out my mouth.
Yes, and she rolled up on her.
Hmm.
Ubah was like, I just
Yeah.
said your name, girl, that you were right here. And she came at her
Yeah.
confrontationally when she knows that Ubah was already like, I'm not trying to deal with you.
Yeah.
And she was upset previously just because Ubah was standing in the hallway and not talking to her, but talking to everybody else. So Erin went off to get her bathing suit, got in
Hmm.
her feelings because, oh no, she's not talking to me. She's a bitch. She's this, she's da, 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 and came down there with attitude and tried to jump on somebody. Ubah was like, you ain't gonna jump. Because if you want to Ubah was like, you want to get froggy, let's go. Like, and Erin wasn't ready for that. So that's all.
um,
It didn't have to be like that.
that really is a little bit of the problem. If Erin made the decision to belittle it or make it a littler thing, like, oh, I don't know why she's so mad. She had that right for sure. But when she came into that situation, I do think there is a learning process that she can get from this, which would be like, it's okay. Like, if you got a situation where somebody gives you like just odd energy, and in this case, based on kind of what's going on between the two of you, you really do got to be able to like not let that ruin your day. I know it's easier said than done, but you got to be able to be like, all right, she's dismissing me, whatever. Like, if that's the stance, if that's the stance. Now, an easier route would have been to just be like, come on, it wasn't that serious. But this is what gives us a great reality show, because I did not expect it coming. When you saw the trailer at the beginning of the season, you're like, what would cause the sunglass situation to happen?
Exactly.
And so now we know, and now we know.
Now we know.
Um,
And all those clips leading up to next episode is giving more and more red flags with Erin.
yeah.
Bobby,
Well, gee, come on, Courtney. Red flag. So
Bobby.
you wouldn't put her in the front seat next to Andy? You think she's kind of lowering her value on the show?
No, I think she is 100% giving her value. She's becoming, I hate to say it,
Oh no. Oh, Courtney, we got to mute you.
she's Erin is the show's or becoming the show's Karen.
Oh goodness.
And that makes for good conflict and causes issues and people can fight with. And we talked before that, like, when who made the comment? I want to say Jessel made the comment that Erin is the one that has had a problem with everybody, not the other way around. So the common denominator is Erin. It's not everybody else. So she's making that more and more apparent that it ain't everybody else, girl. You're not just the chill New Yorker that says it like it is, because also you are kind of a biatch because you punked out when you rose up on this lady who was already
she did
doing
this is the hard part for me to last time when we were talking, you and I was like, oh, I could see the side, but this is really sort of an all Erin faults. Like, I could say that with like in support of loving this cast member for sure. But I think maybe, I don't know, it did strike me a little funny that when she put in the Instagram, she was doing Watch What Happens Live, she said, oh, this was a difficult episode to watch. So maybe there is a little bit of like, oh, I did mess up. I'm not saying that she stated that in the Instagram and it means that she's admitting fault, but like, you don't say like this was a tough episode to watch if you don't like feel like, oh, okay, maybe I didn't do it the way I should have done it. I could have corrected these situations, because she had some chances. Somebody probably egged her on, is what it was. They shouldn't have done that. Because Ubah's not it turns out Ubah's not the one, and you wanted to try it. You
tried it. You sent for her. She came.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know, but yeah, Erin, it's TV. I'm not complaining. I don't want her gone because of it, but I can see if that's really how she acts. Like, me and Erin would have problems. Like, I'm not gonna do that. We're not doing that. So I get it.
Well, I gotta say that Erin has had a lot of good TV moments, but there was no better TV moment than that moment that she had randomly Ronnie Jr. on that Watch What Happens Live. That was her first appearance. I think they should have called me for her second appearance too. What's going on, Andy?
What's up?
And Watch What Happens Live, leaving me out of the, I should be on every episode. Bartender, the bartender. Just being silly. Any last comments?
We really have the best bartending night ever.
Say it again.
I said the both of us, we could have the best bartending night ever.
For sure. 1000%. I love the things I learned from you, and the disagreements and agreements. Like, I feel like when I do an episode with you, it's like, I agree 1000%. And then you'll say something else. I'm like, ooh, Courtney, ooh. It's good for that, and I think that's what we're supposed to take away with the show. Do you have any last comments or anything else that you need to promote? Earlier in the episode, we talked about how Courtney is behind Silver Guardian Productions, and can you give me whatever you need to promote, but can you give me a sentence about just what are the challenges in, like, just kind of an ever-changing industry? Obviously it's ever-changing. What do you have to say about just the uphill of it all and the accomplishments of it all?
I mean, I would say that the challenge is what probably has kind of always been the challenge. It's usually funding, money to do what you want to do and how you want to do it. We're creatives and we want to create and do things and get them out to people as best as we can. And it takes resources. And so securing resources is always challenging, but part of the fun, I guess, also, because when you do figure it out and make it happen for whatever project you're working on, and that, that spans anywhere from like when you're doing a company that has their marketing budget and wants to get content for that, but their marketing budget is only so much, but the ask is a little bit bigger and the vision is a little bit bigger, and trying to make it work in those parameters, it's always a challenge, but it's doable. It's a workout for our brains. And right now everybody's on strike, so that's a whole other kind of challenge. So it makes it a little bit harder, but we keep doing it because we love it.
Well, thank you for spending some time with me. I had a couple like technical challenges on my end, and I was like, at first, I was like, oh gosh, that would mess me up. Like, I'd get mad about something like that because not that I'm ever perfect, but I would like to at least try to be perfect. That's the goal. And something beforehand, about an hour, had happened, and I was like, oh, that's going to cause a technical problem. But I will tell you, and this is a credit to you, I was like, okay, it's going to bug me for sure. I won't say what it is because if you don't see it, you don't see it. But I'm like, oh, it's going to bug me. But I'm doing an episode with Courtney and there's so much joy in that. So I was like, okay, I could look past everything and just know that we'll have a fun recap with talking about the Real Housewives of New York City.
New York. Yes, be in the joy. That's what we need right now. Just be in the joy.
A season of all-stars. Oh, they're all-stars. They are. I really love the cast. I really think they did good. I was the first person to say, don't get rid of my Dorinda and Luann and Sonia. I love watching that age group of women on television, or even men. I might even watch the Bachelor, the Golden Bachelor. Like, it's
I'm actually excited about that. I might watch it too. And I'm not a Bachelor person at all.
Same. Yeah. Just because that you can't really see certain people on television sometimes, based on like ageism is a real thing in show business. And it's just, I was really worried, but boy, I think it's going to be a slow burn for everyone to love the new era of Real Housewives of New York, but you could love both. You could love the old school and you could love the new girls too. And I appreciate you. It's time to go. I'll talk to you on the next one. Thank you, Courtney. Bye-bye.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.